Hello. It shows that Abraham is no spring chicken or a pushback nomad or shepherd that is a grey nomad. No puns intended. Abraham was a vintage of the vintage. Abraham's faith was a fiery faith, and he moved where God asked him to move. He stopped when God asked him to. And imagine at the age of 80 to 90 years old, God told him to change his name from Abram, which is father of nation, to Abraham, the head, father of nations, or multitude. And then he has to do the circumcision when he was lying in bed. I mean, imagine that. To go and fight kings, use your sword, and then use a flint knife to circumcise, and then enjoying all your male crowd, and have a good bed rest for a couple of weeks. That is Abraham. And through all this drama, real life stories, Abraham encountered God. And so now we move back to Genesis chapter 15 verse 2. If you begin to get that big picture of Abraham, that successful 75-year-old retiree, refired retiree, and here he was, and God told Abraham, you go and read out in Genesis 15 verse 1. God told Abraham, I am your shield and your great ATM, no, and your great reward. It may not necessarily be money. And Abraham was having this good dialogue with God. In fact, in Genesis 17, it mentioned that Abraham laughed. Sarah laughed in Genesis 18 as well. But Abraham told God, and this is the crux of today, and I'm going to link Adonai to Abraham right now. Abraham answered God. In Hebrew it says, Vayomer Avram Adonai Yahweh. Vayomer Avram Adonai Yahweh. What it means in English is that, and God said, and Abraham said, Lord God. Adonai, if you have not understand, it means Adonai means master or Lord. And here in Genesis 15:2, Abraham was addressing God not as Yahweh, not as Elohim, not as El, but specifically Lord God. What does this mean? There's something significant, in my opinion, why Abraham addressed God as Lord God. And let me explain to you. You see, Abraham was trying to address God as his master and his God. Master, God. In other words, Abraham says, you're my master. Whatever you say, I believe. You are my master, and I will believe that you can provide for me, and you can change my biology, you can change my bank account, you can change Sarah's biology, although we are old, although we are not so fertile, but God, you can change. You can do the supernatural. In other words, Abraham's response is full of faith. And I believe that this opinion may hold water. You know why? Because just a few verses down in Genesis chapter 15 verse 6, God says, and this was credited to Abraham for his righteousness. So ladies and gentlemen, my dear brothers and sisters, and dear watchers and supporters of Tough Ministry, and thank you for one of you who asked this question about the meaning of the word Adonai. It means Lord, Master, or even owner. And in this instance, in the first time when it was mentioned in the Bible, it means Abraham acknowledged God not just on a cerebral cognitive basis. We can all in the Western civilization just acknowledge, yeah, he's God. We come to church on Christmas and April and that's it. We've done our duty. But here Abraham is acknowledging God more than that. He's acknowledging God as his master. He learned that lesson. He acknowledged God more than that. So I hope that you have appreciated today that when Abraham responded to God, he responded to God as God, Master God. God was in essence his boss. You know, this is just to put in a bigger picture, and this is a bonus for many of you who are watching till the end. This is a bonus for you, my dear brothers and sisters, because through Genesis chapter 12 all the way to 20 plus chapters in Genesis, in Abraham's sojourn in 17 places in more than 5 years, he actually discovered God. In 14, remember, he fought against the king and brought his nephew back, his cousin back, Lot. That was when he discovered that God is his El Elyon, the God Most High, who is sovereign, who is in control, who is the King of Kings and the Lord of Lords. And that's when you come to Genesis 15, when Abraham can address God as Adonai Yahweh, my master and my God, because he already knew from all these experiences that God can provide and will provide at the end of it. And that's when you see Genesis 17:1, Abraham addressing God as El Shaddai, the all-sufficient mighty God. Because God asked Abraham to change his name from just Abraham to Abraham with a head, which means a father of nations. It's a blessing, because originally Abraham was to be a father of nations, but now he's a father of nations. And finally, in his wandering years, Abraham in 21 verse 23, if you look at the Genesis 21, Abraham knew God as the El Olam. I believe in his wandering years he began to understand about the eternity of God, the God who is eternal, the God who is El Olam. I hope that this has blessed your heart to know that God is our Yahweh and God is our Adonai. More than that, that your life in God will be sufficiently blessed, that this year will be a year of breakthrough for you. 5778 will be a year when God will be truly your Adonai and your Yahweh, as Abraham experienced in Genesis 15 verse 2. Shalom, David, Ministry Lead of TAF from Perth, Western Australia.